So let's go ahead and get started with the position. First card that came out was the Devil in reverse. Okay, the Devil is usually about addictions and being chained to something. Could be chained to a person, maybe a Capricorn. But, this talks about gambling. Okay, something that's addictive. So think about things that are addictive. At some point, this was you. And I don't know why this is going to be you, because, this is a Pentacles card. It's Capricorn. You're actually going to show up later. But, think of Aries. I think of them as having red hair. I know they don't, but fiery energy, red hair. So you're probably this guy or girl over here. Plus, there's a lot of fire in this. So maybe this is for guys. I don't know. Because the torch is right next to him and his tail's on fire. For some of you, this could be infertility. Is what you're struggling with. Okay. There is a few things about babies in here. I know. I think I have babies in almost all my readings, and I promise I'm not baby crazy. I'm just trying to make sure that I give all the information out there. So anyway, this was somebody. They were chained to something. It could be they were chained to the idea of a person, of a career, something. Okay, but recently, or somewhere recently, or even like right now, you're breaking that addiction. Okay, it's like it's over. To clarify that, I got the Hanged Man upright. It's a lot better than him in reverse, okay? So when I see this, this talks about letting go of control. See here, this is trying to control things, and here, there's no control. So that's good. You're letting go of control of a situation. And it's not a bad control. Like, it's not like you're out of control, okay? It's just you're letting be what will be, okay? And also, this person is willing to sacrifice what they need to. They may be willing to sacrifice their own needs for the good of others. So, this is like really noble of you. It says, you learn from your mistakes. Okay, so whatever this mistake was, you learned from it. Great, And just so you know, this card's ruled by Neptune. And Neptune has to deal with drugs. Okay. So just, there's some kind of an addiction like drugs. But it's over now. And that whole Neptune thing is going to come in handy later on in our reading. So just letting you know. Basically, it just says accept your current circumstances the way they are. And with the Five of Pentacles over here, it says you're either a student or you have a low income. Okay? And that's very important for this whole reading. Oh my goodness. Because we have pentacles all over the place. So this reading is like so about money, just so you know. But it's a little bit more than that too. Okay? The money is going to affect every relationship you have, even the one with yourself. Sometimes this can talk about escaping reality when you have the Knight of Cups, but that's not what's going on right here, right now, okay? It says, you're going to do some careful planning. You're reflecting on, all this stuff. You're probably buying some time because you want better. You're waiting on something better to come along. And you're just waiting for the right time. So you're not really stuck, but you kind of are. And the whole idea of this Hanged Man is just less is more. Okay, so less control, less intervention, just less is more. Don't worry, you're going to end up big at the end, okay? Coming over, like, this is your situation. There's, like, no problems here. Great. But your obstacle's coming up. Yay! Okay. First one is Eight of Cups in reverse. And you're very lucky that I recently did a whole bunch of research on the Eight of Cups, because that really brought about your reading, okay? When it's in reverse, there's two different meanings, okay? One, here when he's leaving, he's going off to find his, his inspiration, his artistic endeavors, okay? And I think that will apply here. This person's going off in search of something that's missing, because there's there's 8 cups, and in the middle, oh look, I'm supposed to have 9. Okay, so something was missing, whether it's from a relationship that was just toxic, that you got out of, and you had left. Okay, like maybe like you got to 7 of cups, and you started realizing that you weren't complete, you weren't following your dreams. You know, something was missing with you. You weren't whole. So when you got the 8 cup, you just kind of like put it over here because you wanted to really show the importance of that 7 cup experience. Like you had a realization. Now the 7 of cups didn't come up because it's actually not that important compared to the rest of the reading. But basically you're going off on your own to get some kind of inspiration. And that's what happened. I think that's in the past. If not, you're away now, but eventually you're going to return. Now, I would normally say you might return to some kind of an addiction, but the rest of the reading doesn't show that, okay? There may be one person out there who does, and they manage to be successful somehow, but that's very, very unlikely. So what I'm thinking is you're returning to a relationship that you had left. It could also be returning home. You could be going home to your mom and dad, because, well, I'll tell you why in a minute. Or you could be returning to this relationship that's a little bit toxic, or just somebody who you were addicted to, but you got over, you left. Reasons why. One is maybe you got really fulfilled. Like you found that 9th cup and you're coming back to put it right here, okay? It almost looks like it's like sitting in a doorway or something, or maybe a window. Like somebody's looking out and watching somebody leave. It's like you're coming back to this person, whoever it is, because it's in reverse. So there's 2 meanings. One, you got what you needed, and now you're coming back. You're fulfilled, you're complete. Means like, you know, you've been successful. There's some kind of like a reunion, you're going to feast and blah, blah, blah. But it could also be when you left, like you had no direction. Okay, you were uncertain about things. Like you were desperately longing for something that was impossible, or so you thought. And you may, because you're such a martyr person, you are willing to sacrifice your dream to return to like a relationship that's loveless, or you're just willing to put your dreams on hold, whether it's going to a relationship or just going back home to like family members, or even going back to a job that was bad. Yeah. Some of you, this is a very toxic job, and you left and you were just excited. You were going out to, you know, do something with artistic inspiration. And most people are like, yeah, whatever, you'll be back. And you did come back. Some people it was for happiness, but others it wasn't. Others it was you didn't make it, okay? And so you went back to an old job, or you just went back to an old lifestyle, like working a 9 to 5. And you felt utterly lost, and you feel ashamed, maybe guilty. And so you're stagnating, you have no purpose, and so you've returned. I mean, that's got to be just, okay. Whatever it is, you couldn't make it on your own. Or maybe you're just really, really great, but I'm not really seeing that, okay? So yeah, next to it, we clarified with the Empress upright. So some of you came back pregnant, okay? This would be for the ladies out there, just saying. And then some of you came back because you were invested in something really beautiful. Maybe you had a business with somebody at a job that was in the beauty field, okay? Maybe your home is just really beautiful. Like you feel at home, okay? And it's just beautiful. Like maybe there's like a beautiful garden or a lake or something. But some of you are pregnant, and some of you may be pregnant with an idea. And you know, okay, this idea can't come to fruition unless I go back and somebody kind of like takes care of me. Because remember, you have a low income. So see if anything else with the Empress. Basically, there's some kind of an investment, not necessarily monetarily, but you may need to save your money in order to get this other investment, okay, in your artistic endeavors. Some of you may be hairdressers, because we do have beauty and then we have artistic abilities. Basically, this talks about fulfillment. So some of you came back because you got fulfilled, okay? Great. Yeah, then your reading's probably over, okay? But stay and listen just in case I come up with something else. Not that I'm making it up, but if I see something new that I didn't see before. Basically, this talks about being creative. So obviously, you create a baby, or you could just have a creative idea. You're trying to, you're coming back so somebody takes care of you so you can work on your creativity. You thought you had to leave to get it, but you couldn't survive, and so you came back so you could work on it. And that's going to help you survive. Like, you're going to have a benefactor. And also, you doubt yourself. And other people were probably ignorant, or maybe you were ignorant about how to go about it. Just so you know, this also talks about sensual lovers and marriage and commitment. So you may decide to marry somebody or get married because of a pregnancy. Basically, you're just going to have open dialogue with somebody. The universe is intervening. Some of you intervened because you needed money, you needed a place to live, and others intervened and you have a baby. So that's like the conflict, okay? To help change your conflict, or at least to make it less, you got the Five of Pentacles upright. Remember, we talked about this as you're a student or you're just low on money. And, you do see this person's out in the cold. So you were really afraid of being destitute, suffering monetarily. So if you don't want to live with this person, you're going to have to be destitute. That was pretty much your choice. Also, this is kind of a cyclical thing that's going on. You may have left home and come back and left home and come back. But basically, your happiness is blocked, okay? You're worried about money. Some of you may be shacking up with the friends with benefits. Yeah. But if you have a benefactor, it's going to end your money troubles, okay? And over here with the Three of Pentacles combined, it's saying, yeah, you need somebody to help pay your way. For some of you, I didn't think about that before. Some of you may have returned to an addiction, whether it's a person or drugs. Because, this talks about somebody paying your gambling debts. And, this could be gambles. So you may need somebody to pay off your gambling debts if gambling was your addiction. But next to the Five of Pentacles, we have the Five of Wands. So we have two fives next to each other. Fives mean something's not permanent, okay? It could also be just conflict, loss, instability. Could be challenge, you need to challenge yourself to change this conflict. For some of you, here, it says you might get material prosperity, but your spirituality is going to suffer. Because you see, there's money, but they're outside of the church. So you may, gamble and get somebody to pay for it, but it's just going to hurt your self-esteem. It's going to hurt your spirituality. Also, some of you out there may have an odd relationship. By odd, I mean something not accepted by society or religion. And so you're just going to step outside the church, and you might gain, this relationship, but, you're going to be kind of like an outcast. You're going to be out in the cold. That's not for everybody, though. So the Five of Wands next to it is in reverse. Okay. And sometimes with the Knight of Cups over here, it talks about somebody doesn't want there to be like a tense situation. Somebody doesn't want like hot tempers going on. And that could be, why you're stepping out. Okay. Also, for some of you who got pregnant and you're a religious person, or your family's religious, you may have to like step outside the church because you know it's going to set people off, right? Especially if like you're not married. Like here, these people are not married. They were like very sexual with each other, and then you probably ended it. But then you went back. Maybe you got pregnant. Okay. Like during the course of that, you got pregnant. And then you realized, oh, you know what? The addiction's over now. Like I no longer have this, addiction to sex. I don't have a physical attraction anymore to this person. But now I'm pregnant. This, talks about you're ready to move on. You're no longer trapped by something. But then you go in, okay? And there could be some kind of like scandal as far as pregnancy or gambling. Also with the Five of Wands in reverse, it talks about litigation. So some of you, there could be some kind of lawsuit going on. Like you were leaving somebody and then you came back because they threatened divorce. And they said, okay, I'll divorce you and I'll keep all the money or I'll take all your money. And so this person's like making a decision like, oh, okay, I'm going to go back because I don't want to be destitute. And as far as this being the change position, that's actually the good decision. Okay, I know that sounds terrible, but that's what the cards are saying. They're saying, yes, do what you got to do to survive and not be destitute. And yeah, there may be some, like, you have to swallow your pride, you have to have a hurt soul, but it's going to be for your better good. And trust me, that's true. Okay. Back to business type of stuff. Somebody's going to have to help you out monetarily. And when it's in reverse, it says, if people are reluctant to do something for you, it's more about them than it is about you. Okay? And it says, be patient. Especially if there's hot tempers. Like if you're waiting on somebody to accept a pregnancy, they're going to come around. Okay? And this also says you're not breaking up with somebody. So yeah, you're going to go back. You're not going to clash with a partner. You're going to try and like keep the peace so there's not like some tempers going on. You don't want anybody to make snap judgments either. So like normally out of instant gratification, you'd be like, I'm not coming back or I'm not doing that. But you're going to actually take your time and think about it and you're going to make the logical decision. But then this talks about irrational decisions, so that's freaking crazy. I think you're going to avoid irrational decisions, or this is telling you to do that. Just be patient. I think that's what I'm seeing. Everything's going to work out. You don't have to compete with anybody, okay? Because some of this can be about competition, and I do see that later on in the business reading. And it says, you may not be feeling bold, but you need to be bold, okay? Maybe the irrational decision was, just not thinking about something, being careless. But it says, listen to your dreams and intuition. They're going to tell you the truth, or they're going to give you some information on what to do, okay? Overall, just trust yourself. You know what's best for you. All right, so coming to the strength position, the one that I really had to look for something, okay? All right, first came up was Knight of Cups in reverse. And I thought, well, okay, no love offers coming in. Yay, that's your strength, okay? I mean, it was like, nobody wants to hear that. Everybody wants a love offer. Even if you're with somebody, you still want people to admire you. So in reverse, this talks about not accepting yourself. But what I'm thinking it is that you don't care if people don't accept you. Okay? Like, you're just, who cares? It doesn't matter. Here you have inspiration with a lack of follow-up. Well, here you have inspiration and you're going to follow through on it. That's your strength. And they just talk about deception, so be careful of that. It talks about like an aging relationship that's deteriorating because somebody's being fake, or maybe adultery. But this relationship is going to be your strength because it may save you monetarily, like the Five of Pentacles suggests. Like, this relationship would be with the Three of Pentacles person, whoever that is. When you get this with the Chariot, it talks about smooth transitions are in the works, okay? Now, even though later you get the Chariot in reverse, I don't think that actually applies here, whether what position it's in. I think you're still going to get it. We just may not see it coming. So you're going to have a smooth transition in work and relationships, whatever it may be. And it says, if you're dating, you're going to have bad luck on dates. Like, nobody's going to have long-term intentions towards you. Or you may not have long-term intentions. Just lots of shallowness going on. But I think this is mostly about accepting yourself or not caring what other people think. And then backing up your inspiration, your idea.